Alright, so big shout out to Royal Boyle 78 for letting me know about this. It's about the LG C10. If you want to know what refresh rate you are running your game on, there's a hidden feature, and he explained that to me right here. Just press the green button multiple times on the C10 remote and you will see what all games are running at, what color depth displayed on screen, etc., etc., etc. Thank you, Royal Boyle. I really appreciate that. Honestly, I had no idea. I really had no idea about this. It's like a hidden feature, just like I didn't know about the share play on the PlayStation until Martin told me. So this is what it's all about. It's about community working together so we can get the information and all that stuff. So thank you, Royal Boyle. So let me show everybody what I'm talking about here. Alright, so currently I have my Series X and I have Dirt 5 turned on, and I selected a high frame rate mode, and high frame rate mode is supposed to give you that 120 Hertz, 120 frames per second. So how do we know that this really is 120 Hertz? Well, you come here to your remote control, see this green button. You press this green button multiple times. You press it right here, this green button, as many times as possible. Keep pressing it. Here, I'll do it. And there, you'll see it. And there, it will tell you. It's a RGB color space. The resolution, it's 4K, but it's not a real 4K, it's a upscaled 4K. So it's looking at it as a upscaled 4K. And then right next to it, here, let me press again. You'll see it in a minute. There's something you have to keep pressing. It's a hidden feature. I don't know why they did it like this, but that's what they wanted to do. There you can see 120 right next to 2160p. You can see 120 Hertz, so you know you're running at 120 Hertz, and you know that you are at the RGB color space. But remember, it's not a true native 4K, it's a upscaled 4K. It's probably 1080p upscaled to 4K, so it's looking at it as a upscaled 4K, and then 120 Hertz. Right there. Now, if we switch to a prioritized resolution, image quality, if we fix to image quality, it's not going to say this anymore, and you'll see that in a minute after I exit this. I'm going to exit this, and I'm going to try it again. Well, here's the thing. It's always going to say 120. Even if I put prioritized image quality, that's because I have selected 120 Hertz on my Series X. But here's the proof. This is your proof that you are really running in 120 Hertz. And you're going to see the same thing on... here, let's go back. Let's go back to Forza Horizon really quick. Just want to showcase this. We're going to go back to Forza Horizon, and you're going to see the same thing. Now, certain games, obviously, certain games, they already utilize a 120 Hertz, and they do have the 120 Hertz already customized with that feature. Like games like Call of Duty, Dirt 5, there's a list of games that utilize 120 Hertz, 120 frames per second. But remember, they are running at a 1080p. It's a 10. I know it's gonna say, listen, don't get confused. I know it will say 4K. That's because the computer, it's reading it, the program, it's reading it as a 4K upscaled, but it's still 1080p. It's just being upscaled, and it's reading it as upscaled, and it's going to say 120 hertz. Now, certain games, they have that built-in feature, so you know already that that game's going to support 120 hertz. So what do you need? Well, basically, you need a TV. You need a TV that supports 120 hertz. You need ultra high speed HDMI, and you got to make sure that your game has that feature built in, like a Dirt 5 here. I know that Dirt 5 supports it. I can go back to Dirt 5 really quick, and here, right here, I already know that it's a 120 hertz because this game has the high frame rate feature. Now, high frame rate feature means 120 hertz. But what's interesting, on Series X, it doesn't tell you that it's 120 hertz. But on PS5, it tells you that's 120 hertz. Also, I want to show you that on PlayStation 5, you can utilize 120 hertz as well. Here, let me turn on the PS5 because a lot of people are wondering, does the PS5 supports 120 hertz? And I'll show it to you. Alright, so here I am on the PlayStation 5. So let me show you really quick. Let me go ahead and turn on my console. We're going to go to WRC9. WRC9 and Dirt 5, they both support 120 hertz. With PlayStation 5, you don't have to go through display settings. With PlayStation 5, if the game supports 120 hertz, automatically you can switch to that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to showcase this really quick. We're going to go to the option. Press the options. We're going to log in. Click OK. Let's go to the options. Let's go to the gameplay settings. You see where it says rendering mode? You can switch between high visual quality mode, which is right over here down below, high quality mode. Hold on. Or you can switch between 120 performance mode. So we're going to switch to 120 hertz. And you're going to see, once we switch to 120 hertz, the resolution is going to decrease a little bit because we're not going to be, you know, going with native 4K here. We'll be probably going with like 1080p or 1440p. So we're going to click the green button right over here on our controller, right over here, multiple times. Oh, there it is. You see? Right there on the top. Maybe I can get a little bit closer. See, it says 120. It's a YCBCR422. It means it's running probably at 8-bit. It's probably 1080p. 1080p upscaled to 4K. Now, it's always going to say 3840 by 2160 because it's upscaling. It has to upscale to fit this TV's resolution, but it doesn't mean you're getting you know, a true 4K. So it's at 120 frames per second, upscaled to 4K without HDR. There's no HDR obviously here, but the key thing here is going to be much better performance. So if we, you know, want to play, you're going to see a much better performance. Maybe we can do a quick play, just like do a quick play here and do a Sweden and just like start playing really quick, so you can see like how fast it is. I'm gonna start this right now and start the stage, and so just so you guys can see it. Now I do notice that the graphics have decreased, but you know, you got this amazing frame rate now. I would still prefer to play this game, honestly, in a high resolution, because I like to take the advantage of this TV's quality. 120, honestly guys, 120 hertz and 120 frames per second, it's only good for Call of Duty or Battlefield. I really wouldn't recommend it for any other game, because you want to take the advantage of the detail, resolution. That's the whole point why you bought this TV. Why would you want to downgrade? You know what I mean? Until they can make native 4K 120 hertz 120 frames per second games, then we're talking. But that's going to require dual GPU. That's going to require dual GPU to do that. And now we can always go to the settings. I can quit. We can go back to the high resolution. If we go to high resolution, obviously, go to the options, go to gameplay settings, switch to a high visual quality mode, and now we're gonna get 4K HDR. Now it's gonna look much better. And sure, the frame rate, it's gonna be at 60, but it doesn't matter. You're gonna have that quality in HDR, you know. And there's another game that, of course, we can go to. We can go home, and we can go to Dirt 5, and you'll see Dirt 5 has that as well. So PS5 also supports this feature, 120 hertz. So both Series X and PS5 support 120 hertz. Because some people are saying, "Are you sure that PS5 supports 100?" Yes, it does. So here now I have switched to a high frame rate mode, and you're gonna see when I switch to a high frame rate mode, it's gonna show you 120 hertz. And here is gonna be prioritized resolution, which will be 4K. So right here, high frame rate mode, it's gonna give you that 120 hertz, and you're gonna see it when you press this green button. Press it as many times as possible. There it is. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right over here, right over there, 120 hertz. You see it? There it is. Yes, it's gonna say 2160p because it's being upscaled. Remember, every TV has to upscale to that original resolution that the TV is made for. Okay, but that's upscale, so just remember that. So don't get fooled if it says 2160p thinking that it's running at 4K. No, it's not. It's running at upscaled to 4K or whatever that base resolution is. But you can see that you got 120 hertz right over there. Pretty cool feature. So thanks to Royal Boyle. Just click the green button as many times as possible right here, and you're good to go. So there you go. Now we know that both consoles support 120 hertz, and you also know that this TV obviously supports 120 hertz. But keep in mind, certain games will be utilized for 120 hertz, but the resolution is going to decrease. You know, some people ask me, what about if a game supports 60 FPS, but you turn on the 120 hertz anyway? Is it going to help? Sure. I think it's going to help with the latency a little bit. It's going to try to duplicate that 60 FPS. It's going to do its best to try to duplicate. So you can still use that feature. And that's the feature that's available on the Series X. And you can turn 120 hertz all the time. You can even switch to 1440p instead of 4K. But I would keep it at 4K so you can utilize that 120 hertz and try to at least get a little bit of better latency. Look, man, this is a great TV. I didn't know about this feature till Royal Boyle told me about it, but now you know. So, well, there you have it.